Good morning, everybody, or good afternoon, wherever you happen to be. Today I want to talk to you about a pack that I've had quite extensive experience with now. I have been using this pack for probably 700 miles, 650. This is called the Exos Pro 55. This is a new pack this year, and it's Osprey's dive into ultralight. So let's go over some of the key features, which I'm going to read because, you know, a lot of this stuff I don't remember, or I know it, I look at it and I'll say, hey, that's ripstop nylon, but I don't know what the denier is or whatever. So let's just go over it. The main fabric is NanoFly 100D nylon plus 200D UHMWPE ripstop. And so what that means is there's two different materials on here. So they're talking basically about the main material of the pack itself, and then these stretchy material here, which is also a ripstop nylon, but this is the 200D is the main body. The bottom of the pack is 100D nylon and 200, pretty much the same thing. They're also treated with water repellent, DWR. So that's quite nice. The load range of this pack maximum is 30 pounds. It's suggested you don't go down below 10. I don't know why they do that, but at any rate, that's fine. The lid on it, the brain, is removable, and this is something I was a bit surprised at, in a nice way, is that if you remove the lid and you just use this flap over top, you're actually taking off 2.7 ounces. Sorry, 2.6 ounces, 74 grams. And I'm telling you, this is the part that really blows me away. It really impresses me, because what this does is this puts this pack into the range of all of the HMG, like the Hyperlights. So we're talking about Dyneema packs. This will compete with Dyneema packs, with the Hyperlight packs as far as weight class goes. This absolutely blows away ULA. The ULA is 2 pounds minimum. And yes, this is 2.07 pounds with the lid on it. I carried the lid just for convenience and because I thought it'd be really rainy up in the north end. It wasn't. It turns out I was probably better off just using it without the lid. But it was convenient. The lid was convenient. So anyways, those are the technical specs of this pack. Generally, just to talk about the difference between Exos and Asia. Asia, EJA, is generally referred to as the women's pack. And why that is, I don't know, because packs don't know the length of the torso. They don't care. The Asia doesn't go as big as this one. So that's the reason I had to go with this one. Also, I preferred the color. The Asia is just really yucky color, but you know, girls got to accessorize. I had to have some blue in there because I was all blue all year. So anyways, but I imagine maybe the straps might sit a little narrower, although these did sit really good. My initial impression of this pack was, number one, super light. There's nothing here. The material is so much thinner than, I mean, it's translucent. I can see through this pack in very little bit. The other thing I have to notice while I'm looking at the main compartment, and I have to mention this, is that sizing of packs for Osprey and Gregory's and so on are much different than Cottage Company's. This says it's 55, okay? When it says it's 55, that means that the main compartment is 55. You're actually getting around 65 to 70 because these side compartments are very deep. Each of them are 10 liters. I put a 10 liter, I put my tent, which sits in a 10-liter bag, and it went down the side, and you saw it from the videos. It went down inside here nicely, and I used that for quite a while. And that's a 10 liter, so that's 20 liters there. The lid also has another 8 liters to 10 liter capacity. So this pack is way bigger than, say, the equivalent, like if you were to get a Z-Pack 62 or 70 liter Z-Packs, this might even be bigger than that. In total usable space. So I don't know why the cottage companies insist on saying that a pack is 70 liters when in fact the main compartment versus the other compartments are much different. But that doesn't matter. You know, I mean, this pack is not going to hurt you simply because it's bigger. So let's talk about one of my pet peeves, and I'm just naming stuff off as I can think about them. Over here on this front pouch, if you look really closely here, and I don't know if I can zoom in or not, but these straps clamp the actual pouch. So they pull that pouch down in. They squeeze that pouch in. This is a problem for me because I have to keep them as loose as I can, yet I still want to be able to hold things in like my umbrella or trekking poles if I'm not using them. And that's important for me at least. So I didn't like how non-useful this front pouch was. That really bothered me. I wish it would stay fully extended, fully stretched out. And that's the other part of the material. They use ripstop nylon except for a tiny little strip on the sides of stretchy material. I like the stretchy material. I really enjoy having that stretchy material. So that really limited the size, the amount of usable space for me in that front pouch. And that's something I've really come to enjoy in a pack, is using that pouch. It's my catch-all. It's my whatever I happen to have that doesn't fit or belong anywhere else. You know, I throw it in the front pouch. So that pissed me off a little. It does have 2 ice axe loops, which is really nice. I really enjoy that. I only used one when I did have my ice axe, which worked really well, but I didn't have this pack at the time either. I had the Exos, the main Exos. So everything is lighter. I noticed everything is smaller and lighter, like the little thing, the rope, whatever you call it here, the string that holds the top, all the clips, the side clips here, they're smaller. The straps are thinner, they're smaller. Also the pockets, which I'm glad they kept the pockets, because as you know, in 2020, they went away from the pockets. They actually took the pockets out of the Exos line in the Asia line. So these are back and they're bigger than ever. Well, this one's a zip pocket, but this one over here is not. It just has a little loop, and you just kind of pull it and it pulls this is very stretchy material here. So I really like this. This was a real quick, just reach in and grab it. Nothing ever fell out of here. I used to keep my headlamp in here. I kept my water filter in there because I have a bee-free. It's real easy to just take it, scoop it and go. I didn't ever even have to take my pack off to get water, and it was so easy to get at. The comfort level of this is every bit as good as, is every bit as good as the Exos or any of the other Osprey packs. This is one thing I think we all know and understand, is that the comfort can't be beat. The comfort of this pack was phenomenal. I never had stresses anywhere. I never had hot spots. I never had blisters. Never did I fatigue through the day where I'm like, oh, I got to move it around a bit, you know, here and there kind of thing, which I do with just about every other pack that I've owned. We'll see about the new one. We'll see how that fares. The straps are a little different as well. It used to be that the sternum strap used to adjust by sliding up and down a channel, and those things used to break all the time. Osprey was forever having to replace them. So now what they've done is they've just put in 3 little loops here for you to adjust and place your sternum strap where you want to. I always keep mine at the bottom, but that's because I like to have enough room for my camera clip up here. I also use these loops for things like attaching my Garmin, which I like to have very handy, you know, in case I fall or do something happens. I like to have it handy, so that hangs. And also my pack towel, my hand sanitizer, all these things I hang off my straps. I'm pretty heavy with that, pretty bad with that. Last year I used to hang a water bottle holder on the one side here, but I find that these pockets are so easy to get a bottle in and out of because they're front loading and top loading. So I can, and there's these handy little loops. I can just reach back easily, just pull the little loop out and slide the bottle in. I can do it one-handed. So with this pack, I never really ever felt the need to have like a sleeve, a water bottle holder here, which was quite nice. The straps are very comfortable. They're very thick, much thicker than any other cottage company. The load lifters work phenomenally. Now here we're going to get into one of my pet peeves about this pack. They used to have tabs in adjusting this up or down, which is, I love that it adjusts, that's great. But the problem is, you have these tabs now. These tabs are gone and they're just little toggles. And these toggles are a pain in the ass. You have to slide them through here and then twist them. And when you twist them, then that's what holds them. That's what holds this in place. The problem with this is that while I was walking with it, I would, if I didn't have enough weight on the shoulder part, which is always the way I do it, I like to have as much weight on the hips as possible, then these toggles would come out and they would poke me in the back. And they wouldn't move. In other words, they would just keep poking me in the back. I would have to take the pack off and readjust them. Eventually, I got it to the point where they got loose. They got, how do you say it, like the material, as it was being used, it got softer, you know, and they stayed in a little bit better. And every time I went to pick up the pack, I would pick it up like this and I would make sure that I checked both of these little toggles here to make sure that they were in place so that when I put the pack on, it wasn't going to stick me in the back. So that was one of my pet peeves about this pack. The other one, and this may just have been something I did because I had a section, especially from, was it Stehekin to White's Pass? Yeah, I believe it was. So from Stehekin to Leavenworth, I carried at least 40 pounds in this pack. And what I've noticed just recently is that there's a rip in the stitching here on the one strap. It doesn't look like it's a functional issue. The strap's actually in really, really good still. But just, I think from stretching, you can see the Osprey here, it's bent, it's stretched. So obviously I overdid it a little bit. As I already told you, this is only designed for 30 pounds. This is an ultralight pack. This is, you know, I mean, most packs you'll find don't carry more than 30 anyways, the ultralight packs at least. So what else about this pack? Okay, so most of the Osprey packs have two pockets. You have a pocket in here on the top, and you also have one underneath. Not so here with this one. This one, they eliminated the pocket underneath. What they do have, and what I really absolutely love about this pack, is daisy chaining along the back side of it. So you've got two loops here on each side. As you can see, I've got still got my PCT bag tag. And so I was hanging my hair ties back here, all various stuff. My Kula cloth was hanging off here. Also, all the way down two sides of the packs, the pocket on the front are daisy chains. There's like 5 of them on each side. And what I did was every other one, I took shock cord and interlace the shock cord going up that, because I missed that about my ULA. My ULA had that shock cord built in. That was part of the pack, and I loved it because I could hang my Crocs or whatever I wanted. I could lash them down so that they didn't bounce around. If I had, my tent was wet, I didn't want to pack it, so I would hang it off the back of my pack for the first few hours while it dried, or clothes that were wet that I wanted to dry. Also, there's loops here for carabiners. I hung my Crocs off these little plastic super light carabiners. I really enjoyed the clip system, even though they were smaller. I was a bit worried about them when I got it. I thought, like this isn't going to hold, but it did. It held really well. I was quite surprised at how well it held. The material shows no sign of wear, no sign of fading, and believe me, there was some pretty harsh sun on the PCT this year, so I expected that, but no, it held up really well. I was quite surprised. This pack overall, I got to tell you, is really good. The mesh in the back here, there's not as much of a gap between the mesh and the pack itself, so you got to watch how you pack this. The gap here is not as great as it normally was. The other thing that happened to me, and this is something I will tell you if you buy one of these packs, is that the cross piece, there's a cross piece, a metal bar here. If you're packing your stuff down and you're pushing it down and the contents of the pack come up above that cross piece and you're pushing it down, that cross piece will pop out. And so you got to be very careful with that. There's two little pockets, two little holes for the cross piece to go in, and you have to kind of bend it to get it in both sides because it really pushes hard against the outsides of the pack. I only had that happen once, and I learned how to pack the pack. I learned that anything below that bar, I could cram the crap out of it. But then once I got on top, I had to only just lightly push down and compress the contents without, because I always worried about that middle piece, which is a common thing in cottage company packs especially, but now it's because of the lightweight nature of this pack, you're starting to see that happening here too. Not a big deal. The frame is aluminum, it's very light, you can actually see it. It's not inside the pack anymore. It stays in these little stays. There's these little loops that it goes through, so you can actually feel the frame on this. And the frame is a full frame. It's not a U-shaped frame like the ULAs are, or the HMGs. And really, overall, I have to say, I'm really impressed with this pack. I like this pack. I like that this pack is every bit as light as some of the high-end cottage company packs, framed packs. I have to say that. That's important. There's no way that this will compete with frameless packs. None of them will. That's even the semi-frame packs like the Hyperlights and the ULAs. They just won't compete with frameless packs. There's just no way. So anyways, that's my review of the Exos 55 Pro. It is very similar. You can use this review also as a guideline for the Asia because it's the exact same. The Asia is the same material, same weight, just different sizing. The Asia only goes up to 17 and a half inches torso length. I'm 19. I had to bounce up to the men's version, to the Exos. This is not a gender thing, by the way. A lot of women have long torsos, 20-inch torsos. Two of them in my family last year had longer than that for torsos. And that's fine. So like I say, packs don't know who's wearing them. They don't care who's wearing them, as long as they fit and as long as they're comfortable. So there is a pocket for your water bladder inside, and the holes for it to come out in the front here. What else? That's it. That's all I got. It's a great pack. I enjoyed it, and I think you will too. All right, let's go get it.